Welcome to the Mechanical PE Exam Prep Podcast, the podcast where I give mechanical engineers like you the tools and motivation to get your professional engineering license and take your career to the next level. In this episode, we dive into the journey of Misael, an engineer who recently passed the PE exam after years of dedication and hard work. From learning English as a second language to earning a master's degree and landing a job at NASA, our guest shares the challenges and strategies that helped him succeed. We discuss study routines, time management, and the mental game of tackling one of the toughest exams in engineering. Whether you're preparing for the PE yourself or just love an inspiring success story, this episode is packed with motivation and practical advice. Misael, welcome to the podcast, and let's get started with just hearing a little bit about your background, academic, professional. What's gotten you to this point of wanting to go for your PE?
Well, pretty much, my name is Misael. So I was a site mechanical engineer in Cuba. So I came in 2015. Back here when I got to the United States, I started to study English for first time, and then I went to Miami-Dade College. So, to continue my career, I want to graduate as an engineer. So after
you started learning English in 2015?
2015, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredibly impressive. And here you are, not even 10 years later, taking the PE exam.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been a long way. I've been learning a lot. It's a rough path, but everyone that wants to do it, they can do it. Just continue whatever I was saying. I can't. When I started to study English like a year later, and I went to Miami-Dade College. To finish those classes that I was human. They are like English composition classes and those that you need to take in order to go to a real university over here. So after that, I completed Miami-Dade College and I went to FIU, where I graduated in 2019 as a mechanical engineer. After that, I was in the process of working full time in a restaurant, and in the meantime working on my bachelor's degree. So when I completed the bachelor's, I was in a point that what did I do next? I'm used to that kind of life that I need to start, doing another thing. If not, I think I'm losing my time pretty much. So
right.
I went for my FE and I passed in 2020. And after that, same thing. I asked myself what to do next. And when I did my master's on aerospace at US,
wow.
So I graduated in 2023, and that's when I decided to shoot for my PE. First time was beginning of 2024, and I failed. I didn't study that much. I got some random courses, or that not courses but books that I looked in Google and found some books that they were cheap. Some courses that they were cheap, and I tried to do my best, and obviously I didn't. And then that's when I found your course, and I took your course about it, and I started studying for almost 6 months, and I passed it. The other part, I work as a mechanical engineer in the manufacturing area, field for 3 years down in Miami. And beginning of 2024, I started working for NASA in the Artemis project, Artemis 2. So I'm part of a team over there supporting the mission.
Wow.
Now that's pretty much what I'm doing.
Tell us a little bit about that. I think folks would be kind of fascinated to hear, assume we don't know anything about Artemis or what kind of the goal is and what you're working on.
Oh, pretty much Artemis, taking humans to the moon again. So from the moon to Mars eventually. This time we are pretty much, getting humans on the spacecraft. So it's more complicated this time. So I'm part of the communications and tracking team. So
and it's not just astronauts, it's like regular people that are going to go to the moon, or?
I think it's astronauts.
Okay.
It's just astronauts this time. Yeah. At least in Artemis. Yeah.
Interesting. And is there a specific goal other than I think when I just think about history, I think about being first to go to the moon, but there's nothing there. So I guess the goals are mostly science objectives to do research, or?
There's some kinds of things that I could talk and others I can, but that pretty much is that's the objective. We haven't gone to the moon for a while, so we're just gonna go back and pretty much say to the world that we can come back, to the moon, and after that I mean, it's pretty much the objective that Elon Musk has, going to Mars,
Right. Yeah.
It's like eventually, I mean, I guess it's trying to settle down over there, maybe make a base or no, I don't know. But after that, it's like, where are we going next? Humans,
Right. Yeah.
trying to
Thinking
terraform
about
another
space
planet.
travel is pretty crazy just to think about, where.
Yeah, too much.
But
But
it's cool though that you got to actually put your aerospace degree to work in a way and kind of like how was that landing a job at NASA? I feel like that's a pretty non-trivial thing for anyone hearing this. That's like a dream for people.
yeah, it's pretty much it's been an interesting and journey. I've learned a lot. I, as everyone else, I guess it's been a dream to go there. And the thing is, I mean, as an engineer, let's say you start a job and okay, you do some calculation and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, whenever we're talking about spacecraft and all that kind of stuff, it's like something that you can see every day. You can, I mean, play with spacecraft or I don't know, whatever you do over there every day in a normal job. It's like normal job manufacturing would be like, I guess AutoCAD design and then pretty much see, your product, pretty much. But in this case, there is a learning path every day, something different. You find a lot of people there, smart people, and you see every person has a different goal, and everyone works as a team. We are part of a small team, but there's plenty of people working on different things as in trying to fulfill an objective at the end. And it's cool. It's cool. Pretty much as you see in the movies when you're in the fire room, everyone talking on the net, and you get nervous because we're talking about a big project over here, but the other part is very interesting. So still learning. It's been a year that I've been working over there, but it's fascinating so far.
Nice. And were they supportive of you when you wanted to go for your PE? Did they help out or?
It was not mandatory. It was like a personal goal. So
Got it.
I did it as a big personal goal, and I'm proud I did it. It's like
Yeah.
another milestone of my career that I had it. Something I want to complete. Like. But
Well,
yeah, it was not mandatory. Required. So it was just like a personal goal that I had.
yeah, well, it'll certainly open doors for you. So you're pretty ambitious, and I think that shows from your story of just kind of how you spent the last 10 years and going through all the schooling. And what was the FE like as compared to the PE now that you've done both? Because you kind of went right from one to the other. There wasn't a ton of time in between.
I think for me, the FE was more I wouldn't say complicated. I found it like I'd say more harder because one of the things is I started by myself on that one, so I bought the books and I tried to go over all the content by myself. In this case, I had your course that helped me a lot for the PE. I didn't have to spend that much time go over the entire book, which I did at the beginning because that's what I felt the first time, I guess. I didn't focus on one thing. And for the PE, I had your course that guided me through all the things that I needed to pass the exam, pretty much.
Yeah, so for the FE, you were doing it all. You were figuring out how to study, what to use, and doing the
Yeah,
actual work. Whereas with the PE, you had the course that, gave you the structure, but you still had to obviously do the
yeah,
studying and go through the problems.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So what was that experience like as you were studying? What were some of your study rituals? What did you find that worked for you? How much time did you spend in a given day or week, and where did you do it?
Well, I'm a person that likes routine, so I set my days that I needed to study, mostly on the weekends. Wake up early in the morning, went to the gym. After the gym, I sat like in Starbucks for 4 hours and pretty much Saturday and Sunday. So by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., I was done with studying. So I have the rest of the day to do whatever, I wanted to do. And pretty much I fulfilled a couple of things at the gym and studying. I did that for, I'll say, 4 months. The last month was, I added more hours, obviously, during the week. And yeah, pretty much that's what I worked for me. What I did is with your course, I wash it first. I did all the, I guess I did all the exercises, washing the same time that I was watching you explaining it, I was doing it myself. And after that, after I completed the entire course, I did it by my own. If I have any question, I go back to the exercise. But I think I actually watched them like 3 times, all the entire course. So
That's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's a really responsible way to do it. Sometimes half the battle is just having the right expectations going in, and we have to be our own judge of what's good enough. So, folks who expect to go through everything once and get it and be done, that may be a little bit unrealistic. I think it's helpful for people to hear that by the time everything was said and done, you touched these problems 3 times,
yeah,
and that's probably right. It's once to just sort of get the lay of the land, and then again to really take it independently and try to do it on your own, and maybe even a third time to find any last details that are still a bit fuzzy. Were there any moments that stand out for you that were particularly difficult, whether it was with the content or just with the process of studying every single week like that? What was the most challenging part that you recall?
uh, challenge reports. I mean, obviously, I started for 4 months, but we have a lot of content to keep up with the PE. So for example, I started with thermo, and then we went over this fluids and all the topics on it. So when you get to the end, you start forgetting about thermo. It's a lot to keep up, and that's why I did it like 3 times. I watched the course, and pretty much is like that was the worst part, like forgetting things that you already went over it because you're trying to get used to another topics, studying other topics. But I mean, I think the course is pretty good. It keeps you under the right track they need to go. Even though it's a lot of things to cover, but it keeps you in the right way.
Yeah, we try to make it foundational so that it builds, and every time you learn something, it gets reinforced, and things that are really important come up multiple times. So, there's really nowhere to hide. The information is gonna find you eventually. You have to digest it at some point.
Yeah, when you get to the exams, pretty much it's coaching all the top. But while you're I guess in the modules, you have different topics. I mean, it's difficult to. It's not difficult. At least for me, it was difficult. Like like start remember things from the beginning. That then when I get to the exams, well, start remember again. But
Yeah.
I guess it's hard to keep up with everything.
It is. I think that's one of the hardest parts about it is just that it's spread out over 4 to 6 months, and it's hard to do it much faster than that. So you have to spread it out, but then you have to remember the stuff from the beginning, and that's the difference between the PE exam and some maybe smaller college exams that people may remember. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about any one particular college course in an engineering curriculum and you're doing the midterm exam or the final exam, it may seem like a lot, but it's actually only one thing. Like calculus is just calculus, fluids is just
Yeah.
fluids. But the PE is across everything. And the
And
problems
so
can be pretty deep too. So it's a lot to get all that in.
yeah.
What was the most fun part? Did you find it? I mean, obviously you're proud of the result, but just along the way, were there moments that you felt like it was going well for you?
I think all the time, I mean, all the days that I studied, I felt more confident about it. I felt bad during the exam when as an engineer, I don't know if you feel about it, but when I do things, when I do an exam, I try to do my best. I try to go the entire exam with all the exercises and try to do my best to complete them all, as the best as I can. During the PE, I know we have certain percent that we can fail. Let's say we can fail, or maybe not good at all. And those problems that at some point, on the first part of the exam, I didn't feel that confident. Timing was a big problem for me. I felt like I guess I don't know, 5 out of I left like 5 problems that no, I left in blank, but I didn't take all the time that I needed to solve them.
Right. You
So
had to
I felt
kind
like
of
I
pick an answer and
failed.
go.
Yeah, I took an answer. I tried to read it and figured it out from there pretty quick. I didn't spend that much time. So at some point I felt like I was failing. But I guess the other ones I did it good. So but that's what but in the other hand, with the course, I felt pretty confident. I was learning a lot. Everything was well explained. If I have any questions, I remember a couple of times I send you emails and you answer me really quick. We have the options of the office hours as well. I went to a couple of office hours questions. So, but I felt like it saved me a lot of time, to be honest.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting what you share about your exam experience because I think a lot of candidates who go through the program, and I'm sure this happens for people who don't use the program as well, it's hard to know when you're really ready. It's hard to ever be 100% confident that it's going to go well for you. And that's always going to be there. There's always going to be that voice in the back of your head that says, I don't know if I've done enough, if I'm really going to be okay. And then your actual experience on exam day can be quite uncertain as well, right? Like you were in there were questions you didn't get to really spend the time on. You kind of had to pick an answer and move on. It's very uncomfortable. And even folks that are well prepared, and I believe that you were, are going to have that experience where whether it's time or just problems that they don't know or things that maybe they didn't expect, no matter how well you prepare, there's always going to be these kind of oddball questions that come up. And part of the game is just staying relaxed, right? And not letting
Yeah.
it spiral out of control and staying cool because you have a lot of work to do. You got, maybe there's 5 problems, but there's 75 other problems that, you want to give your best attention to and try your best to solve them correctly. And if you get out of control, then it's hard to recover from that. So how did you kind of relax and keep going without having it go south on you?
Well, I guess that wasn't the second part of the exam. That afternoon, I felt like I breathed. I took the break they gave you, like have lunch, and I sat myself and I said, well, you need to relax. You need to go over this. Now you have to come back. And
So you were prepared to come back.
I was prepared to come back. To be honest, I was like, if you don't make it on the second part, it's like you have to come back, pretty much. Yeah, I felt more confident in the second part. I did relax. I mean, even though I've been in a ton of exams before, it's like school and FE, PE. This is my second time doing the PE. It's like exams it make me nervous. It's like it's in the person, I guess. Even though if you are prepared for it, like I guess human beings don't want to be tested, I guess.
Yeah, it's a high pressure situation, and
Yeah.
it's 80 problems, which is a lot, but it's also, in your process of studying, you've solved 400 problems.
Yeah.
And now you're being asked to perform on these 80. And if they're not, maybe it's, you don't like all of them, it's like, well, why did I get so many of these and not enough of those?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't work like that. You get what you get. And
But I think time is the worst part. Yeah. There are problems that you spend, I guess, 1 minute and you can do it, but there are others that you spend like 8, sometimes 10, because, you may errors calculating, maybe try to find out an answer, and that's not the answer. You have to come back and figure it out. So then you spend more than 5 minutes. That's all you have for every problem, I guess. So,
yeah.
But it was a good experience. Yeah.
When you walked out of
when
there.
when I passed that, when I had received the notification that I passed, that was a really good moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Any final advice that you would share with candidates that want to follow in your footsteps, or maybe folks that have some things in common with you? What would you share with prospective candidates?
I mean, all I have to say is that if you want to do it, if you are committed 100%, you can do it. No matter how many times you try. If you fail 1, 2, I guess you can do it in the third one, but you have to be committed 100% that you want to pass it. Because the first time I tried that I failed, I was like, okay, I will give it a try. And if you don't make all the effort possible, you won't pass it. It's not an easy exam. You have to study a lot. You have to be 100% committed to it. And that's it. Just dedicate time to it. And I think also, I mean, I don't know, most of the folks that are taking the time, I guess, they all have full-time jobs. I totally recommend your course because, I mean, it will save a lot of time to people and everything is well explained. That's all I can say. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I think it's a great point, just about commitment level, because if you kind of half in and half out, it's not enough. But when you're really committed, what that actually looks like in real life and studying is that when something's kind of difficult or annoying and you kind of don't get it, if you're half in, you'll be like, whatever, maybe it's not too important, and you'll just kind of leave it there. But when you're all in, you're like, I have to be able to figure this out. Like, this has to make sense. I got to be able to understand this. And you'll keep looking at it, or maybe you'll put it down for a while. You'll come back later that day or the next day and say, what's really going on with this? What's underneath this? How do I get to the bottom of it so it's really solid for me? That's what commitment is. And that's the difference, because when you do that and that accumulates over 4 to 6 months, then the results take care of themselves. Even if it still feels a little bit uncomfortable on test day, you end up with the good results, which you got.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all your support. Whenever I have questions, thank you for your time that you dedicated to me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. And again, congratulations and good luck. Look forward to hearing what happens with you in the future.
Yeah, let's see now what the future takes me. Right now, I'm just waiting to obtain the license, and which is a part that I never worked on the professional engineer before, but I read over the Florida Board of Professional Engineers that engineer supervisor will suffice the experience that you need. So right now, I just submitted my experience, if that will be enough to get the license. Even though I knew that, I tried to do it because that's like a goal that I had before, pass the exam.
And you have the exam in your back pocket now. So even if the application process has to go through a few iterations over time, eventually you're going to be a licensed PE. So
that's good. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Dan. If you have any questions, need something else in the future, just let me know. I really appreciate your time.
Will do. Keep in touch. Thanks for listening to the Mechanical PE Exam Prep Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a review to help other engineers find the podcast. And if you're looking for a program that will help you pass the PE exam, check out the full access bundle available at mechanicalpeexamprep.com, and feel free to reach out with any questions. I would be honored to be your guide on the journey to becoming a professional engineer.